You woke up this morning feeling completely fine. No chest pain, no dizziness, no warning signs at all. And that is exactly what makes this so dangerous. Most serious vascular events do not announce themselves with a loud alarm. There is no flashing light. There is no dramatic warning. There is just a perfectly normal morning. Until suddenly, it is not. And here is the part that most people never hear about. The hours right after you wake up are actually when your body is most vulnerable. Something about the way your blood behaves overnight makes those first few minutes of your day matter far more than most people realize. This is not about expensive medications or forcing a dramatic overhaul of your entire life. It comes down to 7 small things, most taking under 2 minutes, that research suggests can meaningfully support your brain and vascular health every single morning. And the very last habit on our list? It is something most people have never connected to their circulatory system at all. Stay with me, because that one genuinely surprises almost everyone. To understand why your morning carries so much hidden risk, we have to look at what is happening inside your blood vessels. Think of your arteries as flexible garden hoses. When you are young, those hoses are soft and stretchy. They easily expand and contract to keep blood flowing smoothly, no matter what the moment demands. But as the years go by, those same hoses can gradually become stiffer and less forgiving. They lose some of that natural elasticity that made everything feel effortless. Now, here is where it gets interesting. When you wake up, your body naturally releases a wave of stress hormones, including cortisol, to help you transition from sleep into wakefulness. This wave causes your heart to beat faster and those garden hoses to narrow slightly. Now imagine trying to force the same amount of fluid through a hose that is both stiffer than it used to be and narrowed at the same time. The pressure spikes. If you already deal with elevated blood pressure, this morning hormonal surge is like running high pressure through old plumbing. Over time, that intensity can damage the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, making it easier for blockages to gradually form. But here is what makes this so quietly dangerous. You cannot feel this pressure wearing down your vessels from the inside. There is no pain signal. There is no warning light on the dashboard. Just ordinary mornings, one after another, until the damage becomes impossible to ignore. The good news is that you can begin changing the environment inside your blood vessels before that morning pressure spike does any real harm. And it starts the moment you open your eyes. Think about how your mornings actually feel right now. Maybe there is a low hum of anxiety that arrives before you have even fully woken up, a vague sense of dread about your numbers, that quiet worry that follows you to every doctor's appointment and sits in the back of your mind during every routine check. Maybe you have watched someone close to you go through a health crisis that seemed to come out of nowhere, and now some part of you is always waiting for your turn. That feeling is exhausting, and it is far more common than anyone talks about. But here is what that feeling actually is. It is not weakness. It is your body trying to tell you that something needs attention and not knowing exactly what to do with that signal. Now imagine a different kind of morning. You wake up, and instead of that low hum of worry, there is something closer to quiet confidence. Not because every number is perfect, but because you know, specifically, concretely, that what you are doing each morning is genuinely working in your favor. Your blood vessels are less constricted. Your circulation is moving more freely. Your brain is better supported. Picture your circulatory system functioning like a clear, open highway with no traffic jams, not because of some dramatic intervention, but because of small, consistent choices that gradually shift the conditions inside your body. You are rewriting the story of your vascular health, not with a single dramatic moment, but one morning at a time. That is not a fantasy. Research consistently shows that simple, repeatable daily habits can have meaningful cumulative effects on blood pressure and vascular function over time. And the path there starts with just one morning. This one. The very first habit costs nothing and takes less than 2 minutes. Before you reach for your phone, before the news, and before your first cup of coffee, drink a glass of water. While you sleep, your body continuously loses water through breathing and natural warmth. You wake up at least mildly dehydrated every single morning, even if you feel no thirst at all. And when there is not enough water in your system, your blood becomes slightly thicker and slower moving. Your heart has to work harder to push it through your vessels during the very hours when those vessels are already under their greatest daily stress. Thirst is not a reliable early warning system. By the time your body signals thirst, it has already been asking for help for a while. The fix is simple. Leave a glass or a water bottle on your nightstand tonight. Tomorrow morning, drink 7 to 10 ounces before your feet touch the floor. Research suggests that adequate morning hydration may help support healthy circulation and normal blood flow. That single habit immediately begins easing the burden on your cardiovascular system before the rest of your day has even started. Once you are out of bed, the next habit is equally brief. 2 minutes of gentle movement before anything else. Think of your body the way you would think of a car engine on a freezing cold morning. You would not turn the key and immediately push the engine hard. You would let it run gently for a moment, giving the oil time to circulate and the parts time to warm up properly. After hours of stillness, your circulation is naturally slower, and your vessels are somewhat constricted. A few slow neck rolls, some gentle arm stretches, or a relaxed walk down the hallway acts as a quiet awakening signal for your cardiovascular system. Light early movement may help dilate your blood vessels gently, preparing your circulation for the demands of the day without sudden stress. The American Heart Association has consistently highlighted that even light distributed movement throughout the day can support both heart and brain health. 2 minutes. That is genuinely enough to shift the trajectory of your morning. Now here is the habit that puts you in complete control of your own data, monitoring your blood pressure at home the right way. High blood pressure is often called the silent threat, and that description is accurate. It rarely causes obvious symptoms. It does not announce itself. It simply works quietly in the background year after year, placing stress on your vessel walls and gradually increasing risk without giving you any clear signal that something is wrong. Measuring your numbers at home is the most direct way to understand what is actually happening inside your plumbing between doctor's appointments. Invest in a validated digital arm cuff. Wrist monitors tend to be less reliable. Before you take a reading, sit quietly in a chair for 5 minutes with your arm resting comfortably at heart level. Do this before coffee and before any morning medication. Take the reading, write it down, the date, the time, both numbers, and repeat this a few times each week. If you regularly see readings above 130/80, consider that a yellow flag worth mentioning to your doctor. Readings consistently above 140/90 are worth a prompt and calm conversation with your healthcare provider. The numbers you collect become one of the most useful things you can bring to that conversation. They transform a vague worry into concrete, actionable information, and that information belongs to you. Next comes what you put on your plate during the first hour of the day, because that choice sets the tone for your blood sugar and inflammation levels for hours afterward. A breakfast built around processed sugars and refined flours causes a rapid spike in blood glucose. That spike triggers a brief but real inflammatory response in your blood vessels, making their walls more prone to the kind of slow, gradual changes that raise long-term risk. Do that every single morning over months and years, and the cumulative effect matters. On the other side of that equation, a breakfast built around whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats helps keep blood sugar stable, supports healthy cholesterol levels, and may help reduce that morning inflammatory response. Research published in journals like the British Medical Journal has linked regular whole grain consumption to lower cardiovascular risk over time. Practical starting point: unsweetened oatmeal with a handful of walnuts and a piece of fruit. Eggs with a slice of true whole grain toast. Plain yogurt with berries. Nothing complicated, nothing expensive. One label reading note worth remembering: if a bread package lists enriched wheat flour as its first ingredient, it is not genuinely whole grain regardless of what the front of the package says. The first ingredient must explicitly say whole wheat flour. That single check can save you from a daily breakfast that is quietly working against you. Before the mental to-do list kicks in and the noise of the day takes over, there is a 2-minute habit that may be one of the most underrated tools in cardiovascular health: a brief, deliberate pause. Chronic daily stress keeps your nervous system in a low-grade fight-or-flight state, continuously releasing cortisol that constricts your arteries and maintains elevated pressure. Most people move directly from their alarm going off to full engagement with the demands of the day: email, news, family logistics, work, without ever giving their nervous system a moment to find its footing. Before any of that begins, sit comfortably on the edge of your bed or in a quiet chair. Use a simple breathing method called box breathing. Breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale gently through your mouth for 4 seconds. Hold empty for 4 seconds. Repeat that cycle 5 times. Research reviewed in publications like JAMA Internal Medicine suggests that mindfulness and controlled breathing practices may help support healthier blood pressure and lower stress hormone levels over time. This is not self-help language. It is a measurable physiological response. 5 cycles of box breathing costs you less than 2 minutes and may meaningfully blunt that dangerous morning cortisol spike before it puts unnecessary stress on your vessel walls. Here is something that surprises most people. You can exercise consistently and still have a high-risk day for your circulation if you spend the remaining hours sitting still. Research has shown that prolonged, uninterrupted sitting is independently associated with increased cardiovascular risk, even among people who work out regularly. When you sit for extended periods, blood flow in your legs slows significantly, your metabolism stalls, and your heart has to work harder against sluggish circulation. It is a literal traffic jam in your vascular system, and it builds up quietly every hour you remain seated. The solution is not to stand all day. It is to interrupt the stillness. Every 60 to 90 minutes, set a simple phone alarm to remind yourself to stand up for 2 or 3 minutes. Walk to the kitchen, stretch your calves, step outside for a moment. These brief interruptions keep your circulation moving freely and may help prevent the gradual vascular stiffening that comes from extended sedentary periods. The most effective way to make this actually happen? Plan it in the morning, before you sit down at all. People who schedule these breaks follow through. People who intend to take them when they feel like it usually do not. And as always, if you are managing a health condition or taking blood pressure medication, talk with your healthcare provider before making significant changes to your daily routine. These habits are supportive tools, not substitutes for personalized medical guidance. And now we arrive at the final habit, the one that surprises nearly everyone: daily flossing. If that sounds completely unrelated to your blood vessels, stay with me for just a moment, because the biological connection here is both well documented and genuinely important. When your gums are inflamed, and gum disease is far more common than most people realize, often without any obvious pain or symptoms, they become a persistent, low-grade source of chronic inflammation for your entire body. The harmful bacteria and inflammatory compounds present in an unhealthy mouth do not stay contained there. Research suggests they enter the bloodstream and may actively contribute to the kind of arterial inflammation that accelerates plaque buildup over time. A large study presented at the American Stroke Association's International Stroke Conference found that people who flossed regularly showed meaningfully lower rates of certain types of stroke compared to those who did not. Separate analyses published in journals like the European Journal of Neurology have found associations between periodontal disease and elevated cardiovascular risk. The connection between oral health and vascular health is real. It is increasingly well supported, and it is almost never discussed in the context of heart and brain protection. 2 minutes of flossing every day, morning or evening, whichever fits your routine, helps eliminate a hidden source of systemic inflammation that most people do not even know they are carrying. If your gums bleed initially, do not stop. Bleeding is a sign that inflammation is present and that the gums genuinely need this kind of consistent attention. With regular care, bleeding typically decreases over time. This is a habit that quietly protects your blood vessels while you stand at your bathroom sink. There is almost no easier trade-off in preventive vascular health. 7 habits, most of them under 2 minutes, none of them requiring a prescription, a gym membership, or a dramatic reinvention of who you are. But here is something worth being honest about. Knowing what to do and actually building it into your daily life consistently are 2 very different things. Most people start strong and then gradually lose the thread. Not because they lack motivation, but because there is no structure holding the habits together when motivation naturally fades. That is exactly the gap that the 30-day blood pressure reset foundation is designed to fill. It is an educational guide built around the kind of morning habits we covered today, organized into a clear day-by-day roadmap, so you never have to guess what to do next or wonder whether you are doing enough. It includes simple DASH-style meal plans that support healthy blood pressure and arterial function, straightforward daily tracking tools so you can watch your own progress unfold over time, and practical guidance for building these habits in a way that actually sticks past the first week. It is not a medical program. It is a structured, supportive blueprint for people who want to take these evidence-informed steps seriously, without the overwhelm of figuring it all out alone. Protecting your brain and your cardiovascular system does not require perfection. It does not require starting over from scratch. It just requires a slightly different kind of morning. By choosing tomorrow morning to hydrate first, to move gently, to breathe before the noise begins, you are not just checking boxes. You are gradually changing the environment inside your blood vessels. You are giving your circulatory system what it needs to do its job with less strain and more resilience. The pressure inside your system begins to ease the moment you decide to take that first small step. And that step is always available to you, even tomorrow morning, even this one. If this video gave you something genuinely useful, subscribing helps us keep making content like this. Practical, research-backed, and focused on what you can actually do. And if something in this video resonated with your experience, or if you have a question, leave it in the comments. Take care of your heart, one day at a time.